This is the Infinity Summit Group. Truth, passion, success.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Infinity Summit Group podcast. Today is May 29th, 2023, and we got another fun guest on today. I'm Noah.
Xavier.
Logan. Jesse.
And we got our special guest today, Dalton. Do you have any introductions you want to say for the guests?
Hello, everybody.
That's
all I got.
Welcome. So, first of all, the reason why we wanted to have you on as a guest is because we see that your pathway in life is kind of going towards a pathway of success, right? That's the plan.
That's the goal.
And so we want to hear a little bit more about that. What, first of all, with your career, we'll say, what the heck got you into this career? Did you envision yourself in this career? And then, where do you see it going?
And what is the career?
Yeah, so I manage a successful chain of dental offices, probably the most successful chain in the state. And no, I didn't expect myself to be here. I came from a land of construction, and my best friend since 7th grade, he went to school, got his master's degree, and joined on with this company and told me, hey, it's a good opportunity. You should come over here. He told me a little bit about the company's culture and that they're all about growth. And so I jumped over. I started entry level at the front desk. I was just a receptionist. And within a year, I was managing my own practice. And within 2 years, my practice was the most successful practice. So it's been a lot. I didn't know a single thing about teeth. Now I can tell you everything about them. So it's been pretty cool. But the biggest driving factor behind that is the owner. The owner's super motivated. He's all about success. He's written his own books, and he's a good guy to have behind you.
Now, what schooling, college, anything do you have in the dental area, or is it
Zero? Well,
just made it happen? This
is now when people ask me, what schooling do you have, I tell them I have a bachelor's degree in life. I went to Dixie State and got my associates, but I stopped going because I passed every class for my associates with the knowledge I had from high school, and I decided this is just a waste of money, so I'm done. And yeah, I've been at this company for about 4 years now, and not only do I learn about dentistry, I handle the numbers. I could be an accountant for the company. It's pretty well-rounded, teach you a lot.
So how many are you the head over?
So we have 11 offices. I'm based out of just one office I work in day to day, but I manage the managers in all our other offices. So if any, we call them high-level cases, which means a case with a dollar amount over $5,000. If any of those walk through any of our doors, I know about it. I audit it. I track it. And yeah, so any high dollar amounts, they essentially come to me.
So you don't touch mouths. You don't touch teeth or anything.
No, don't touch
Not
teeth.
qualified.
and it's hard because the business model. I mean, everybody's been to the dentist. You go in, they tell you need a filling, you get scheduled back, and you get a filling, and it's pretty the customer service isn't there, or it feels pretty impersonal. It's just a transaction, which is the difference that we're making. My role, per se, they call it a doctor partner, which we're the only place that does it. Essentially, I'm a patient advocate. So from the time they walk in the door to the time they walk out, I'm with them through the whole process. So they have someone there with them that they know and trust. So I spend time getting to know them. I walk them through, insurance, finances, talk to them about their life, do financing if we need to. And it's a pretty personal experience, which is why we're the most successful.
Probably makes it a lot more soothing for people too, because I know for me, I hate going to the dentist. It's such a traumatic experience, a little bit,
Exactly. And dentistry's come a long way, but everybody, we joke about it all the time. Nobody ever comes in and is like, man, I love it here. Everybody hates it. Nobody likes the dentist, so it's our job to turn that around.
I do enjoy our dentist just because we've had the same one for my whole life and most of the life of my parents too.
Yeah.
Parkins.
Yep.
Good one.
Yep.
Solid man.
He's 2 minutes from my office. He's right down the road.
Nice.
We see a lot of the same patients, but I've learned a lot. I used to go to Parkins, and now, with my dentist, I wouldn't go to anybody else. So the owner of my practice is an actual dentist where Utah and I believe it's Texas are the only two states where you don't have to be a dentist to own a practice. So you get a lot of practices in the state of Utah that are just owned by businessmen that don't have the experience, don't have the clinical knowledge to serve patients properly. And so there's a lot of variation in how dentists serve patients, like what materials used, what's the best practice to give the patient the best end result. So there's a lot of variation there. And with our owner being a dentist, it's highly focused on clinical outcome, which
For sure.
is great as well. So
What would you think would be the reason that you kind of rose so fast? Because going from, just the receptionist to being where you're at now, that's kind of a short amount of time for most people.
yeah, it's just 100% motivation. I came in with I interviewed for the doctor partner role, which is the role that I grew to be in, but with the lack of dental knowledge, they said, well, let's put you on the front desk. And they paid me more than your average front desk. They said, with the hopes of you being a doctor partner. And so I just learned it as fast as I could. I was watching videos at home on YouTube of what dental procedures were. I was looking at dental textbooks, what the doctors would read when they'd go to school, so I could learn everything they knew. Because basically, I have to be able to, when the doctor describes something to the patient in doctor terms, I got to break it down to English for them and be able to translate that. So I have to know everything the doctor knows. So I just studied at home, did it on my own, and I was up my manager's ass on it, just being like, okay, I want to move up. What do I got to do next? Where do I got to be? And so on the front desk, I was only on the front desk for probably a month. Then I moved to the behind the scenes, like billing, insurance side of things. I was there for 2 or 3 months, and then I kind of started getting into the doctor partner role. And then within a year, then I was a doctor partner and an office manager. And yeah, it was just doing it on your own. There's a lot of people that come into the company that I'm mentoring now, and they say, oh, how do I get to where you get? So you just got to want it. If you want to get there, you'll get there. We promote within, but it's not my job to help you rise up. I can't make you want it. If you want it, you'll get there and you'll do it on your own. If not, then you're going to be where you're at. And some people rise and some people just stay where they are.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And that's life.
Yep.
That's nice. So what did you start out making, and then what are you making
I
now?
started at $20 an hour, and now I'm at $100,000 salaried per year. I also negotiated into my contract, which nobody knows and they'd be upset about. They don't cover insurance in my work, but I told them, if you want me to stay, I need you to pay mine and my family's insurance premium 100%. So I don't pay anything for insurance coverage, and then there's bonus incentives.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where would you have gone if you had quit? And what did that conversation look like when you're setting your terms?
Yeah. So I believe whenever you're negotiating, you are talking about this is what I'm worth and this is what I want. You keep emotions out of it. So I'm a very numbers-based person. So I was interviewing with another company that the same friend that got me at the company I work for now said, this is a good company I'm working for, and you should come over. And they had a high salaried offer. And so I went to my work, and at the time, it was $90,000 is what I was negotiating for. So I've gotten a raise since. But at the time, it was about a year ago, I told them, if you want me to stay, I need $90,000 a year salary with bonuses not included in that, and I need you to cover my all my insurance expenses. And how it looked is I track our numbers on a month-to-month basis, and our EBITDA, our profit percentage, I track everything. And so the goal for dental office is 10% is like you're thriving a little. Like 7% is you're keeping your head above water. 10% you're doing okay, you got a little bit of money. 15% you're sitting at a place where you can keep purchasing and keep growing. 20% is like the dream. That's where you want to be. You're thriving. You're doing better than any other dental office. And so my office last year, when I was negotiating it, did a little over $2 million at 25% profit, which blows everything out of the water. I bet we were the #1 office in Utah last year. But so I just took each month and said, you want us to be at 15%. I'm at 25%. So if you take what I'm asking out of the profit, it costs you, say it was $3,000 a month. If you take that out, you're going to be at 24.1% profit every month, which is still 9.1% higher than you want it to be anyway. And that's happening because of me. So this is what I want. And my manager said, thank you for having an adult conversation about this and showing that you understand our numbers and where we need to be. And let me call the CEO. She called him while I was there. She told him what I wanted, and he said, give it to him. And so we made it.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
So,
awesome.
Story short, you made yourself valuable.
exactly.
Yeah.
Made yourself valuable and showing knowledge that in the grand scheme of things, it's a business decision. They're not making an emotional decision. A lot of people come looking for raises on an emotional decision and get emotional about it. It's a business decision. I understand they have to make their money. They understand the value I'm adding because we're 10% over what their standards for you are. So
Wow, that's awesome. So do you think you'll be there for life? Is that your career?
no, you never know. I mean, I didn't think I'd be here for 4 years. I think it'd be hard to leave. They've treated me really well, and I'm at a point where I've told them, like, for what I do, I feel like I make a fair wage. Like, if they offered me more, great. Yeah, I'd love more money. But I'm at a position where I wouldn't go to them and be like, I wouldn't feel comfortable saying, hey, I need more money for what I do because I think I'm getting paid fairly for what I do. So it's either add more onto my plate, or I'm the type of person where if I'm not growing, then I'm leaving. If there's not growth for me somewhere, I'm not staying. And they know that, and I've told them that. I said, I need a next step. I'm bored where I'm currently at. My job's too easy, and I need the next step. And they know that, and they're giving me more. But when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it's a small business. They don't have all the benefits of retirement or 401k, or they don't have any of that. So you either have to make your own retirement on the side, which of course we're always trying to do, or go to a company that offers those things.
Have you heard of whole life insurance?
I sure have.
Okay, just checking. That's my 401k.
Yeah, that other company, I just had my 3rd interview with them again. So the company that offered me last year. So
Oh, so you might be leaving anyways.
well, no. So anytime they have a position open, my buddy that works there just throws my name in. He's a good friend to have. We always talk about business. We always talk about what we're going to do. So anytime there's an opening, he'll throw my name in. And I'll interview, and I'm all about keeping your options open. You don't know what's out there until they come. And I made it clear to him in the interview it would take a lot for me to leave. But, if they offer the right thing, then maybe I will. I don't know. I don't know till it happens. So they said the position started out at $80,000 with a 10% bonus, and I told them what I make and that the offer would have to be competitive. And that was on the first interview, and we're in the 3rd one. So I assume that that's not a problem for them.
That's right.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
Can you say the company?
It's called Willis Tower Watson. It's the largest
It's a mouthful.
insurance conglomerate, and it's number 3 in the world, number 1 in the United States. Basically, you're a consulting firm. I mean, it's really a boring job. The reason I would be open to doing it is my friend works 15 hours a week. He makes $120,000 salaried with a 15% bonus, and he works from home. So
Now,
Yeah.
that's pretty dope.
the reason I would do it is because me and him have always wanted to work in the same place. In fact, we've always worked for the same companies, just at separate times. And me and him have always talked about entrepreneurial stuff. We want to buy our own stuff, do our own thing. If I were working 15 hours a week from home, that gives me time and money to do what I need to do on the side. We're looking at multiple different franchises we've looked at buying, just haven't quite lined up financially yet, or their numbers haven't met what we want them to be. But yeah, that's why I do it, is just time. But basically your big companies like Coca-Cola or Chevron, have all their retirees, and they sign up their retirees with plans with Willis Tower Watson. If the retiree has a problem, they call Coke. Coke calls me, and I deal with their complaints, and just it's client management in its most basic form.
That'd be a pretty sweet gig.
Wouldn't suck. 15 hours a week from home.
Yeah, that's probably about where I'll be, but it won't be from home.
No. Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah. No, I don't know. I couldn't work from home 15 hours a week. I'd have to do something else.
Oh, for sure.
My buddy has another job that pays him another $70,000 a year. So he works 2 jobs from home, and it works out. But we're looking to.
$200K.
Jesus, that's
Yeah.
not too bad at all.
Yeah, no, it doesn't suck. So we're looking to do that and put our money together and do something
See
that's
what
going to create
happens.
that retirement.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you were thinking about buying franchises or like starting your own business?
Buying franchises.
Okay.
We've looked at our own businesses. Dental consulting is a dream, and it is lucrative. You have like 80% profit, 70 to 80% profit. Your overhead is minimal, and I know a lady that she's been doing it this is her 4th year doing it, and she just did 20 million last year at 70% profit. She's only been in it for 4 years. Her first year she did
Good laws.
2.5 at about the same 60-70% profit.
What is dental consulting?
Yeah, what does that entail for you?
It's so easy it sounds stupid. You know, you get dentists who own their own practice, and dentists aren't businessmen. They're like, how do I grow my business? How do I get more patients? How do I get more customers? And the nice thing is the company I work for teaches you all of that. I have all the skills and knowledge I need to consult any company. I know what I could implement to make them more successful and make them more money. And so they come to someone like me, or I come to them and say, hey, I can teach you how to make more money. It'll cost you, our premium package is $50,000 a year. And what that buys you is 1 in-person meeting every 6 months and 2 video chats a month or something. That's what her packages were, something similar to that. And they say, okay. And then you get enough of them doing it, and really all you're doing is one and visit.
Maintaining a client base at that point.
Exactly. You're just doing video calls, telling them what to implement, giving them, you have a background of PDF files and stuff you can help them implement. But with the knowledge I've gotten from my company, nobody does it the way we do it. And so just implementing that in any other dental practice, they would be more successful and they would see a benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even posed that to the owner of my company. I said, why don't you do dental consulting? And he used to. I said, do dental consulting. I'll run it. I don't care if you want to be partners, if you want to pay me a separate salary on it, let's do it. And he told me, he said, you get me a client and I'll start the business. So I just haven't done it yet.
You're like, oh, okay.
Like, that sounds nice. But no, that would be a dream. But also when we were talking about franchises, there's a company called Dirty Dough. It's essentially the same as Crumble with a few little differences. And their Crumble's franchises would be a dream, but they're $500,000 just for the franchise fee. And then you got to pay everything else, which is expensive. Dirty Dough is smaller starting out, and the franchise fees are much less. There's an office in Pleasant Grove for sale for $160,000, and they turn a lot of profit. So we were looking into buying that, but Dirty Dough is in a lawsuit right now with Crumble, and the Bain won't approve anything until that lawsuit's settled. So
That's fair.
yeah, it is fair because it's a pretty close company, pretty much the same, but we're not stuck to one company. We look at everything, search all day, just find something that makes sense, can make a lot of money. Me and him were looking at doing the dental consulting, but he signed a 5-year non-compete, so we got 3 more years.
How are they similar? Do you know like the details of the lawsuit? Because you got like tons of different ice cream shops. They don't sue each other because they're just ice cream.
Their business model, everything is
The same.
It's literally the exact same. Dirty Dough was smart because they did a few key differences where, like, Crumble makes all their dough and stuff in-house, makes everything there. Dirty Dough doesn't. They have it at a facility and have it shipped in, which they save a ton of money on labor on, so their labor costs are really low. And then their slogan is, the reason they call it dirty dough is the cookies are messy because it's not what's on the outside that counts, it's what's on the inside. So their cookies are a little dirty, but they taste good. So it's branding is the biggest difference between them. But the lawsuit's been ongoing, and it's unclear who's going to win. So
We'll see.
we'll see.
Yeah, I knew a guy who franchised out, or who bought a few cookie cutter franchises.
Mhm.
It's the hair cutting, and he was doing really well. He was looking into getting, what was his next thing? Ice machines.
Mm-hmm.
He said their profits are ridiculous.
That tracks. Everywhere needs an ice machine. Every single store ever has one.
Yeah, but it was an automatic one, so people would put in their money, and then it would spit out the bag of ice for them.
Oh yeah,
It's like,
I think I've seen those. Like they
I
have
think I have
those.
too. It's like a shoot thing, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did it.
That's pretty sweet.
yeah, and he said those were, what did he say, those were 20 or 30 grand for a machine, and you'd make your money back off it in about 2 years, and
Yeah.
then from there it's all profit. It's fucking
Doesn't suck.
ridiculous. Yeah.
There's so many ways you just have to get into it. I mean, I know people making a killing on vending machines.
Yeah.
You just got to jump in it.
Mm-hmm. Start with a tiny bit of capital. You can do whatever you want,
Yeah.
or not at all if you're feeling adventurous.
Yeah. Well, you can always go to Wendover, see how that works.
Well, if you got credit cards with a good enough interest rate and your returns are good enough, then
Make it work.
do good.
Yeah.
I've been rolling a deal where every 18 to 24 months I'll get a new credit card because I've been ripping 0 interest for the last 3 years
Yeah.
on all my cards. Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't
So.
suck. There's loopholes to everything in being successful. And I think the biggest thing everyone talks about, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and I agree with that. It's just you need to know someone that knows the thing you need to know.
Yeah.
And you're there. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, my CEO he built a successful dental chain in Virginia, built it to 26 practices, sold it for millions, moved here, and they said it's impossible to run a successful dental chain in Utah. And so he said, well, I'm going to do it in Utah then.
Try
And,
that out.
Yeah, so he's not doing it for the money. He's doing it for the love of the game. And
Yeah.
here we are.
So, with your salary and everything, have you upped your living expenses quite a bit and live a fairly good lifestyle, or are you
mean-
saving quite a bit of it and able to throw that at different things?
So I can save a lot. So the raise to 100,000 came a couple months ago, but I'm able to save about 20. The way I have it budgeted out, it's 2,400 a month. I can just put right into savings after everything's paid, and that's still leaving quite a bit as cushion for living expenses, or it leaves an additional 1,500 for whatever, gas, or if we want to go out to eat one night or something. So I can save, the way I have it mapped out, I can save about 30,000 a year, put it in the safe and use it for whatever. Recently, I've bought a shitload of gold and silver, which isn't the best return on your money, but I've done it because that's what our ancestors have always taught us. So
It's a good value hold.
it is. And so, the reason I did it is I had all my money in cash in my safe because I was saving a bunch. So I have my oh shit fund, which is just cash in the safe in case all the banks decide to go belly up. And I was looking at it and I was like, ooh, that's sketchy. So I took half of it and went and bought gold and silver. So now I keep half in gold and silver and I keep half in cash of my oh shit fund.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else, if I leave, I can't save my money and have it in my bank account. Like if I save it, I have to pull it out and put it in my safe because then it's so much harder to access. So that's what I do. Pull the cash out every month, put it in my safe. Once I get enough to invest in whatever I want to invest, then I put it there.
So what does your oh shit fund look like?
I
Price-wise.
6 months of everything. It's about 20 grand.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, 6 months of. So the way I calculated it out, my monthly have-to expenses are about $3,000 a month, give or take, and so I keep it at 20,000, which is a little extra. But
So it's 10K in gold and silver and 10K in cash, or 20K in each.
no, 10K in each currently.
Yeah.
I'd like to increase that. So I have 6 months. What I want is a year, I want a year because what I want to be able to do is, if I see an opportunity, I want to be able to have the financial freedom to where I can say, you know, if I have to quit my job in order to make this work because I believe in it, then I can do it. And I have a bankroll for a year to play with. And if it doesn't work out, hey, I'm sure they'll take me back.
You know what a great place to hold that cash oh shit fund?
I know where you're going with this.
Where you actually make 4% on it?
I could do
No,
that.
do you have policies?
I don't.
Okay. And as you don't, I'm curious, what's your reasoning? Because you know what they are.
I don't know a ton about them. Genuinely.
Oh, okay.
Genuinely, I don't know.
You're starting a can of worms, bro.
No, it is what it is. I ask all of our guests about it and just see because they're so fucking cool, you know?
Genuinely, I don't know a ton about them. The life insurance policies in general, whole lot, like I don't even know the difference between what any of them are, but I do know one of our doctors in our Harriman office, he has some policy. That's the coolest shit I ever heard of. And I was like,
Tell me about his policy.
It's likely what we're using.
it probably is, because he said, like, so he has it for his kids, he has it for himself, and say it's, I don't know what the dollar amount was, it's high because he's a dentist, but say it's $5 million. He owns 27 pieces of real estate or something like that. He's like, I've paid for every piece of my real estate with this policy. You know, I've just taken it out, put the down payment or whatever I do, and then pay the policy back. And he said, I have the option to not pay the policy back.
Yeah.
Why? How can you take money and not pay it back?
So, the way the policies work, they have, you have your death benefit, which obviously if you die, then that's paid out to your beneficiary, right? And then you have your cash value. So you put in these policies, say a regular term policy, you're paying like $30 a month, whatever, $50 a month, for a certain amount of death benefit coverage. That's just you renting the coverage until the policy is up. A whole life policy has a contract of 100 years, and during that contract time, the contract states that by the time that it's over, so 100 years, say for me it's age 121, right? Then they are obliged contractually to have my cash value equal my death benefit. Okay? And it works. They have all sorts of like solid assets. You know, they've got their whole asset pool. They're private companies. A lot of them are super old. Like some of them been around since the Civil War. So they're solid, right? They've survived everything. And how it works is you put in your money every month. Say your minimum payment. For me, my minimum payment's about $350, which is a lot more than regular, but I build cash value. So what that cash value does is I put this $350 in every month. Part of that goes towards servicing the policy. Like, okay, you're buying death benefit from them, right? Part of it goes towards my cash value, which actually grows the amount that my, we'll say the bank account for that is worth. And then part of it goes towards purchasing more death benefit. So my death benefit has grown since I've had the policy by about $150,000. And I've had this policy about 3 years. I only maxed it out about 2 of those years. Much like a IRA or a 401k, there's a max you can put in up to a point, and then the IRS will come sniffing basically. So you can max it out. You can put in a minimum. As long as you're servicing your minimum amount, you can take a loan against your cash value. So say my cash value is 20 grand or whatever. I can take a loan up against that up to, I think, 95-ish%. So I take a loan against it. My cash value stays and continues to build at about 4% per year with dividends and interest. And I use that money to go purchase property, investment, a business, whatever I want to do. And then I can have the option to pay that back or not. What happens is that as long as you're making that minimum payment, your cash value grows more than the interest on your loan. And so you don't have to pay it back. It doesn't count against your credit. You don't have to pay it back.
What's my interest rate?
Your interest rate right now, you're about 5%. So it's not terrible.
It's better than most places.
Yeah, especially now. Yeah, I actually took a loan against my policy to pay down part of my flight loan because my flight loan was 8.75%. And my policy is 5%. So, boom, lump that into there.
Say your cash value's $20,000. Now let's do it for easy math. Let's say it's $10,000.
Okay.
Your cash value is $10,000. You can take out 95% of that.
Yeah.
correct? So you take out $9,500.
Approximately 95%. Yeah.
So you take out $9,500.
Yep.
Your cash value is still 10,000, and it
Correct.
still grows as if it was 10,000.
Correct.
The
Because it is.
The 9,500,
Yes.
I can either pay back at a 5% interest, which you're paying interest to yourself essentially, if I
Yeah.
in a roundabout way.
Yep.
And if I decide not to pay it back, why does that not make sense?
Because you're making a minimum payment on your policy.
So you're still making the minimum payments.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
which does not include your interest. That's your minimum payment to have the policy.
Right.
Right. And so that grows your cash value, death benefit, all that grows faster than your loan does.
Okay.
Otherwise, they would loan less than 95%.
95%.
Exactly.
Right.
So some people will get old retirement age. They'll take a loan against their policy. Say it's $200,000. They take a loan against their cash value, and then they just service their minimum payments every month, and they don't ever pay it back. Then when they die, the loan that they have out goes against their death benefit.
Right.
So whoever gets death benefit, they just pay out the loan, cash it out, and
Minus, yeah.
then, yep, give the rest. So
But
they're pretty
you're
badass.
guaranteed a death benefit.
you are, as long as you service your minimum payments, yeah. And eventually, these whole life policies actually, I think if you're maxing it out, it's about 10 years. The dividends and interest payments will service your minimum payment if you want to. So after 10 years of maxing it out, you don't touch
What's
it anymore.
maxing it out like?
Maxing it out looks like you're talking to your agent, the insurance company, whoever you're in contact with, and you ask them, how much can I put in this month? And they'll give
Okay.
you an amount that's under the IRS limit, essentially.
Is it consistent?
Like fairly consistent.
For
Yeah.
instance, what does it look like for you to max it out?
Yeah. So for me, we'll say when I was maxing it out, I'd call them and ask them. And they're like, "Oh, you can put in 3,200 this month, or whatever. You can put in 1,500 this month." There's a max. There's a cap you can put in throughout the year, but it does as your death benefit grows.
Varies.
Then it varies a little more, right? So you can continue maxing it out throughout the year.
Right.
So yeah, I maxed mine out for about a year and a half, 2 years. My cash value grew up to about 20 grand. My death benefit increased by about 150 grand. And then I've just been doing minimum payments since then. So my cash value has not grown substantially. It's grown by, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 grand. And my death benefit continues to grow as well, just not as much. Just while I'm going through flight school, I lowered the payments. So
So say you're doing minimum payments for ever. What does that
Yeah.
look like?
So minimum payments forever. I'm looking.
Say minimum payments for 40 years. What's your cash value? What's your death benefit?
It's stupid, because they grow over time. They grow exponentially. Right.
Yeah. So it's a shitload either
Like,
way. You
for-
stack it.
Yeah.
For mine, for example, I paid the max amount, which was like $1,000 a month, for probably half a year, and then I've just been paying minimum payments since then, and I'm coming up on 600K death benefit, and
So-
that's just the minimum.
We'll take it for instance on my baby's whole life insurance policy, because we've been not maxing hers out, but pretty close since day one. We've had her policy since she was about a month old, so we've been maxing out for about 10 months, or close to maxing out, we'll say. Her death benefit has grown. We had a small policy. Hers is about $250,000. No, it's 200,000 is what it started at. And her death benefit has grown by about 30,000, I believe, in 10 months, and her cash value, I think, is right around $2,000. So
your death benefit always grows. It's not like you sign up for a policy and you're like, I want $1 million death benefit. Like it's always
it'll
gonna-
grow.
It's always
They
grows.
have ones that they can structure where it's like, I have a set death benefit, I put in this set amount, and I don't touch it again,
Yeah.
basically. And then you just get whatever growth occurs naturally,
Right.
because you're renting your money to the insurance company at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yes, with the mutual whole life insurance policies that we've got, that's your death benefit always grows. So I'm looking, if I were to do minimum payments from here on out, say 40, 50 years from now, I'm probably looking about $1 million death benefit. So it will have doubled the death benefit from where it started. It might be more than that. You've got, my dad can run the,
Yeah, he has a big spreadsheet
Yeah.
that'll tell you year over year exactly.
yeah, it's
what
got the
it'll be.
guaranteed versus the non-guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, if you start maxing it out, throwing in other money. Yeah. and he can show you the potentials. It's crazy because that's one thing that uses time very, very effectively, and it's solid as can be. Whatever, and if the dollar crashes, they exchange your money for the new currency.
Whatever the new currency is.
They just, yeah. So it's interesting. That's where I've got a lot of my money. I do have gold and silver. You know, you still have solid assets. I still have some cash. It's not a ton of cash because I have my policy. I can just be like, hey, I need
cash
money
whenever you need it.
Yeah, if I need instant money, I have a credit card if I really need to. And then the policies, the first time you try to get a loan, you're about a week and a half. And then anytime after that, you're like 3 days.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, pretty quick money.
Anyway.
Yeah, I've got my money in everything but that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying.
We'll have to talk
highly encouraged. Yeah, because they're fucking broken.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Huge rant.
Yeah, I love it.
you recently had a baby one, so congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How's that been?
It's the best thing you can do, in my opinion. I'm loving it. It's not too stressful for me because we all grew up in that. But yeah, it's been great. She doesn't sleep. She just eats. And that's it. It's pretty
And eat,
simple.
sleep.
Eat and sleep. Yeah.
Is this your first?
It's my first.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. It's before you have a kid, I feel like you're focused on success in your life and your goals, and then you have a kid and you're like, I need to be successful for you. So it kind of changes your perspective on things, and for me, lights a fire under my ass a little bit more than if I was doing it for myself. Because for me, like, I could really give a shit what I want. It's about what she wants and what she's going to do. So that's what it's about.
Yeah, because you're doing it all for yourself. You're like, all right, so I'm going to be successful, make all this money for what?
Yeah, for what reason?
And then you have a wife and a kid, and you're just like, oh, I'm going to be successful for this. And you are going to have a excellent life.
Yeah. And we are going to have many more of you, hopefully.
Yes,
Don't tell
exactly.
my wife.
How long have you been married?
I've been married. Oh, fuck. I think we got married in
I
2021.
hope your wife listens to this.
I hope not. She's gonna be like, "What's the podcast called?" I'd be like, "I don't know."
I don't remember.
I don't even think they
pretty
posted it
creative.
anywhere.
It's posted everywhere.
We've been married since September of 21. That's when we
Nice.
got married. I've known her since high school. So yeah, that was the. Have you guys read the book "Sell or Be Sold"?
Oh, you told me about it.
If you
I
haven't read it, you
yet.
have to read it. It's
Listeners.
brilliant. Sell or Be Sold, Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone's a genius. A lot of his stuff comes off really salesy. If you're looking at, he has like the 10X and he's always selling courses. A lot of it comes off really salesy, but he does it all for free. Like, his books are free. If you go to his website, he'll just send them to you. Like, he's awesome. He's all about helping people. But Sell or Be Sold, it's the best book I've read. I read a ton of business books. I love it. And in it, he talks about the hardest sell he's ever made in his life, which was selling himself to his wife, which was, I related to that. I chased my wife for like 2.5 years, man, and she was not having it. But I was like, we are getting married. This shit's happening. And so we made it work. We closed the deal. So if I can sell her, I can sell anybody.
There you go.
Good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I've never heard it used in that analogy, but I like that a lot.
Yeah, sell or be sold. In life, you're either selling or you're being sold to. That's it. Those are the only two. If you're anything, you can relate to it. If you go to a store you're being sold to, whether someone's actually in person, like willing and dealing with you or not, you go to the grocery store to buy something you've been sold to because you chose that Smith's over this Smith's because you like it better because it's more convenient. You're being sold to, or you're doing the selling. And it talks about it in not a salesy, like the car salesman way that everybody hates, but it's just the basics of life. Sell or be sold. And it's a quick read, but you guys should do it, man. It's a good book.
I'm sold.
Okay.
Yeah, sold.
Have to listen to it.
And I'm selling. So
The other thing I recommend always to our guests who are younger, just starting out their lives, everything. Do you have a trust set up for your family yet?
nope.
I'll get you hooked up.
Let's
Because
do it.
what are they called? Wills
Mm-hmm.
are contestable in Utah.
I've known that.
Yes.
I knew that. I've heard
So,
that.
all your shit fucking gone.
Yep.
If you and your wife die, right? So yeah, trust cost us at the time it was $700, about an hour, phone call, and then he sent us the paperwork, and it's all set up proper.
Yeah, I'll have to do it because I've heard that. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll give you the number today though.
which would be fun. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'll do it. I'll do that.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Especially because you have assets, you have things you want to protect, you want to hand down, right?
Yeah.
You don't want ain't nobody else gonna touch that but your wife and kids, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Or whoever you choose, up to $24 million.
Yeah.
12 per spouse. So
Yeah, which I'm close to it. So
there you go.
take a
Better
few
get
zeros off.
Yeah, when that becomes a problem, it'll be a good day.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be over 24 mil. I gotta hand down.
Yeah.
Time to make a
We're gonna have to split this up.
yeah. Time to make a charity. Start throwing stuff in my kids'
Exactly.
names.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad problem to have. I'd be
Yeah.
okay with it.
So what other investments, things have you been thinking about doing?
I'm in everything.
Anything crazy?
I always will and deal. I'm on KSL and Utah Gun Exchange every single day of my life. I check it every hour because some people don't know the value of their stuff and they sell it for cheap. I'll buy it and sell it for more. I buy guns like crazy, and people think I'm a gun fanatic, which I am. I love them. But if anyone posts any firearm that's undervalued, I'll buy it. I don't care what it is. And it's kind of like another savings account for me. All the guns I've bought, I probably have 15,000 worth of guns and ammo altogether, and I maybe paid 7,000 or 8,000 for all of it. So it's like my dad always told me the same thing too. He's like, your wife will always get mad at you for buying guns and ammo, but it's an investment. And so it's true, because my wife will be like, I'll go spend $500 on a gun. And my wife will be like, well, can I go spend $500? So I spent $500 on this gun. I could sell it tomorrow for $900. If you can spend $500 and do that with anything, have it be worth $900 tomorrow, do it. I'll give you $5,000. You can have whatever you want. If it's worth more money, I don't care. It's an investment.
Yep.
Even if say you're going to spend $500 and it holds its value for 10 years, do it. Like, yeah, it's just you're changing forms of money. I don't care.
Go buy a Gucci bag.
That's too much.
Oh yeah.
So I do that, and on KSL, I mean, I made like $3,000 selling golf balls last year. I found a guy on KSL that was selling golf balls for $10 a ball, or 10 cents a ball. I ended up buying 1,000 golf balls from him for $100, and most of those golf balls sell for $1 a ball. I mean, you get TP5s and a bunch of the balls there worth $5 a ball brand new. Used once hit, they sell for $1 to $2 a ball. So I bought 1,000 from him, sold them all, went back, bought another couple thousand, sold them all. I have about 500 in my garage. I'm about ready to start doing it again, but it's just easy money. So things like that I do a ton of. I've had people on KSL. This guy did it with like a hunting backpack that was on there that was brand new, and he had it on there for $50, and I didn't want to go buy it and go through the hassle, so I went online, searched pictures of that backpack, did my own post for the same backpack for $175. Someone told me they'd buy it. I went to him, bought it, sold it for $175. And it's just advertising. I mean, his pictures looked like garbage, but I was like, that's brand new, still has tags on it, and I know what backpack that is, and it's worth brand new. It's $300. So I do that a lot. I've dabbled in cryptos, which are fun until they're not. I've dabbled in Robinhood, which again, you do some options. They're
fun
exciting
until
it's not. My dad's with a group that he kind of lucked into. So we have a silver and gold dealer that we always buy our silver and gold through. But my dad was always in there, always buying silver and gold. So he told him, like, do you want other investments that you can put your money into? My dad's like, yeah. And so he got a part of this investment group that in order to be there, you had to be an accredited
accredited investor.
Yeah, or make over a certain dollar amount per year.
Yeah.
Which he made the dollar amount requirement. So he started investing with them. And so my dad set up because my dad's the only one that could invest, but he set it up through an LLC to where we could invest through him. So me and some of my siblings and some of the family, a lot of the family actually have done some investments through him. So we have money in a bunch of different places, but it's just throwing money at the wall, hoping it sticks. So
Yeah.
there's a lot that could work out and some that probably aren't going to, but if one does, there's one pre-COVID, we were almost very wealthy because I had 2,000 shares in this company and they let us buy the shares before it went to market.
Pre-IPO.
So we bought the shares, $1 a share, 2,000 shares, $2,000, and it was for a software company. And then Google was in negotiations to buy the software company. They said if it can support 160,000 users at one time, we'll do it and we'll upgrade the software from there. So they did the test. It supported the 160,000 users. They were about to buy it, and then COVID happened. And they stopped all negotiations. It sounds like they may be in negotiations again. But they anticipated that if Google had bought it, my per 1,000 shares would be 1.4 million.
Which
So,
would be nice.
which wouldn't, I mean, you pay $2,000 and you get $3 million. It wouldn't suck. But
You ever hear of that dude David Cho that did something like that? He went and painted a mural for Facebook in their very first office, and they gave him some amount of shares.
Oh, I do.
And years
yeah.
later, he sold it for $250 million, and then he just quit. Doesn't work anymore.
Mm-hmm. There was someone else that did that too. Said,
Well, at that point, managing your money is a full-time gig.
yeah.
That
So-
dude's an artist. He just travels around the world and paints shit for people for free,
Yeah.
basically. It's cool.
Do you
Well-
still have those shares? Just curious. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I have the share. I actually have shares in the dental company I'm in as well. So I have shares in a lot of different places. The dental company, I'm the only person that's not a dentist that they've offered shares to. So I have shares in that company. I still have shares in that other company, but I don't. When I put money into shares or anything, I just don't watch it. Someone will tell me one day if we're rich, and if not, then it's just money wasted and it's fine. So I pretend like I don't have it. It's not like it's liquidable to where, well, if I wanted the money, I could get it out, but I don't want to. I put the money there. It's an investment. It stays there until it hits zero or hits $1 million. So
There you go.
yeah, I'm in it for the long haul. So
Right on.
I know a lot of our generation wants to retire young, retire rich. What are your goals on that?
I don't know how well I'd do with retirement. I just want, I'm fine working till I'm 70. I don't care. I'm fine working my whole life. I just don't want to do hard labor, which I've gotten out of that field, so I think I'm safe there.
Right. So I guess the goal is to have the ability to retire at 30
Yeah,
or whatever if you wanted to.
I just want financial freedom. So I don't, retirement's not the goal. I think I'd like to work in some form of another, but my goal is to, when the wife asks me, hey, can we buy this? To not be like, well, let me see. Be like, sure. You want a new car? Sure. I don't care. We've got it. We can take care of it. My goal is, before my daughter's old enough to go to school, I want to be out of the Salt Lake Valley. I want to be away from all the weirdos and crazies. And sorry if you guys take offense to that, but what's going on in our society, in my opinion, and we could get political if we wanted to, but
Oh, we always do.
what's going on in society is bullshit, and I don't want to raise my daughter in it. I want to raise her. I want to plot a land where I can have animals. I can teach her and whatever other children come along hard work and good values, and they can be around like-minded people that know what hard work is. And in schools, nowadays, they don't even say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore in school. They don't, they don't do any of that.
What are you allegiant to, though?
Well,
Where is your allegiance? That's the problem.
so I think it's the basis of it.
Yeah.
Even in, how political do we want to get?
Let's
far
go
as you
for
want.
it. Yeah, we've gone down all the rabbit holes.
There's kids saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the pride flag. They
Yep.
took God out of the schools, which in my opinion is a huge mistake. Even if you look at it, and a lot of people are like, oh, you're reading into this. But
No.
it's not. If you look at it on the new quarters that they minted, they turned George Washington's face against In God We Trust. It's the only difference. Turned his back on In God We Trust. It's facing the opposite way. Where in history, it faced In God We Trust because we always face God. It talks about that in the monetary system. That's why he was facing In God We Trust. Turn it away. Everything they're doing is meant to pull you away from God, pull you away from religion, regardless of what your religion is.
Why is that?
Because they
Why
want
do you
to
think that
divide
is?
us. They want division. You're easier to control when you're divided, in my opinion. I think everything that's going on, they're pushing division, all the Black Lives Matter, everything like that. It's not some pissant that one day had a dream and wanted to do Black Lives Matter. It's high-ranking officials that are doing it to push agendas, to separate people.
Well, what's
Why?
the end goal?
Why do they want this? Well, I've had this conversation before. Why would these high-ranking officials want division, want all this other stuff?
So I think there's a couple different points to it.
And we've got differing opinions on this, by the way. All
Yeah.
of us have different
Well,
opinions.
good. And I think differing opinions. I mean, I want to hear your guys's because I think
I'm a liberal.
it sparks. I don't. I think it sparks discussion. I think varying opinions is important, and I think that's another thing our society lacks is they lack the ability to have varying opinions and have a constructive conversation about it. Because I don't care what you believe. If someone believes something, believe it. I don't give a shit. Just don't shove it down my throat, or we're gonna fight. I don't care what you believe. But I think depending on what you do, there's different agendas. I think some of them are going for population control, which I think is a huge thing. I think COVID. You looked like you had a question.
Yeah. Why do they want population control?
Because the less people on Earth, the easier to control. You hear Bill Gates talk about it. There's too many people
heard
in
him
the
talk
world
about
that
it, yeah.
want less. And for some of them, I don't try and understand their mind. I don't need to understand their mind, whether they or why they want it. I don't know. I don't look into why they want it.
That's the important part.
Well, I don't give a shit because if you try and come to my house trying to control my population, I got a lot of freedom seeds that are coming your way.
Right.
So, well, I just don't care. I mean, everyone has political agendas, and that's how I feel. You can force your political agenda. I don't force mine on you. For you to force yours on me is unconstitutional, and I believe in the Constitution.
So what would you like to see different? Like, what's a solution that you could see to pull us out of what we have right now?
Dude, we just need our founding fathers to be resurrected and bring the country back. Or, I mean, I'd be happy with the second coming as well. So either one would be satisfactory to me.
Second coming meaning?
Of
Our
Jesus.
Lord and Savior.
Okay.
Yeah. Either one. I mean, I believe it from a religious standpoint, too. Talks about it in the good books and the end of times. Whether you believe in those books or not, I happen to. So I believe in it. And everything that's going on in our society is written in all those books. Talks about it. Talks about the separation of everything. Talks about race wars, civil wars, turns into a holy war. Talks about all of it.
It's a pattern that happens in most every civilization.
Oh, yeah, and we're overdue. We're about due.
Yeah. So all great like republics and everything, they
300
last
years.
Yeah, 200 to 300 years, and then they end up turning into empires
Mhm.
for another like 300 to 600 years,
Yeah.
and then they just fucking collapse.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see if we can survive from that.
Yeah, we're right in the middle of that 200 to 300. So
No,
What's
just
that?
real quick. You were asking him the question why.
Yeah, why?
Now, I want to know your opinion.
Yeah.
Why?
So you think about why. We'll say the world leaders, World Economic Forum, all those kind of people, right? They've got a lot of power. They've got a lot of money. Why the hell would they want to control population and all that? Either they firmly believe in these things, they're like, climate change, whatever, which I call bullshit on
yeah,
that.
I don't think they believe in it. No.
Or they want to, much like you were saying, they want to maintain their positions of power.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it'd be like, why? Most people don't want to give up power, right? The only one in recorded history, I would say, would be George Washington, who stepped down from the
Mhm.
presidency. He was like, I don't want this shit.
Yeah.
Good guy, by the way. Damn good guy.
That's why I said bring him back.
Yeah. He's tired, man.
Yeah.
He got brought back too many times. He was brought back like 2 or 3 times from retirement
Mm-hmm.
and unwillingly.
Yeah.
Although he had his own interesting things. But anyway, I personally think, I'm like, okay, why would I do that? I'm putting myself in their shoes. I'm very powerful in this world. I have a lot of money, things like that. how do I preserve my progeny, we'll say. And that would be to divide and conquer, maintain power, get as much money as I can with the least risk, aka vaccines that don't have liability
Yeah.
and that are paid
COVID.
for by governments. Just all of these things. I personally think that it's their natural instinct to care and provide for their progeny, those that they know, just kicked into hyperdrive because they have the influence for it.
Yeah.
I think I would say damn nigh any human in their place would be doing the same.
And so here's what I'll argue it.
Go for it.
Because I think what's lacking in our world today is a moral compass. In order to do those things, you have to lack a moral compass.
Maybe.
I think you do, because
What is a moral compass?
mine stems from religion. Everybody has a different moral compass.
That's the problem.
Exactly. But you can't say to anybody, like, okay, I'm willing to murder millions of people, willing to kill millions of people. You don't have a moral compass. If anyone says they do and they're willing to kill millions of people, innocent, let's throw innocent in there.
Who determines innocence?
We're going down the same fucking rabbit hole you went down with
I
Mo.
love this rabbit
I
hole.
could see
I
that he
love
loves
this
it.
rabbit hole.
I could see that he loves it.
It's
but
so fun.
okay, so for me, it's I'll recant my statement. For me, it's a Christian moral base.
Okay.
If you have some sort of belief
Yeah.
in a higher power, regardless of what that higher power is, most sects of that religion have some sort of moral base that you
Yeah.
follow.
And the moral base would be the Ten Commandments for Christianity, right?
Something of
Or
that
something
sort.
similar.
Or most of them are treat others with kindness, show love, kindness, all of that kind of thing, regardless of what it is. And I think that's a big factor in things today as well. If you don't have something governing you in that way, you know what I mean? Not that it has power over you, but something to strive
fear?
to be. No, I don't fear it. See, I have a lot of our family, it was raised in fear.
Yeah.
I'm not fearful of God or death or any of it. I'm at peace with it. But I think that drives a lot of people. In my opinion, the lack of God or a higher power in your life drives you to some of the far reaches of what we see in this world.
Yeah, I'm of the firm opinion that the world would do good with I wouldn't say I would say, more of a Christianity-based morality,
Mm-hmm.
because Christianity, the basis of Christianity, and we'll say most moral compasses that we've talked about, would be the preservation and perseverance of life.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so some of these guys might just be like, well, it's my tribe against your tribe. Fuck everybody.
Yeah.
And
Well-
I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, and you look at the officials, like I'm looking at Hillary Clinton up there. I'm like, you don't believe in God. Like, you don't have a moral compass. You don't believe in shit. You believe in furthering yourself. And that's some people's belief, which is great, good for you, but I think if there was some sort of religion that everybody was bound by, the world would be a much better place.
Oh, founding fathers would hate you for that.
I know.
Do you-
But not bound by in terms of like they have to live it, but if just everybody believed in this some sort of religion, say they had this belief, the moral compass, take religion out of it, say it's a moral compass everybody believes in, the world would be a better place.
Do you think people can have our moral compass and not believe in anything?
Oh yeah, I think absolutely. I don't think you have to believe in God or Christ to have a moral compass. I don't believe that at all. And I think the religion I was raised with, at least as a kid, is not what I believe in. I searched for it myself. I mean, I got baptized in the LDS church, and it wasn't for me. And, you know, I've kind of visited everywhere to find myself, and what I've come to is I myself believe in God. It's not the same God that the LDS church believes in. It's not the same God that but my parents believed in. It's different for me. I still read the books and take my own opinion from them. But I think one big issue I have with organized religion is I don't need anybody to manage my relationship with God. It's between me and him. And for me, it's God. For someone else, it could be something else. But some people believe in, like I talk to people about this all the time, and they say, oh, my religion is just being kind to someone, being kind to one another, being kind to your fellow man. Great. You don't have to call it a higher power. When I married my wife, completely different views on religion. Like, God was not a thing to her. She didn't believe in any of it. 100% different, which to me, again, that's a relationship between me and my higher power. And yeah, I don't feel like me and my wife have to align on that to run a successful household, which over the years we've come in alignment over it. But still, I think everybody's different, and that's okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What is your definition of God then? Like, what would be your God?
I still believe in the Holy Trinity, God, Christ, the Holy Ghost, and all of that. I believe in that. And so my belief is a lot of what we read in the books, but I think you take a passage of any of those religious books, the Book of Mormon, the Bible, the Doctrine and Covenant, you take a passage from any of those and have three different people read them, and you get three different interpretations. And I've just taken my own interpretation of it. I believe in God. I think there's only two things you can do in this world that you can't be forgiven for, which is read in the books. And I believe that. So I think...
Wait, what are they?
Shedding of innocent blood and denying the Holy Ghost.
Okay.
Which...
Denying being it's real and then saying it's not.
Denying being, the way I explain it is, like, God comes to you, and you're talking to God, and without a shadow of a doubt that's God you're talking to, and then someone asks you about it, and you're like, no, God's not real. So I believe that's something you can't be forgiven for. And then shedding of innocent blood, which again, what's innocence? In my opinion, innocence is a child. Children are innocents, because it also talks in the same books of defending yourself and everything like that. So I think innocence is a tough one, but with a child, it's not tough. Children are innocent.
That's a tougher one with just over 1 billion people of this world, the Catholic Church, believe in original sin.
Mm-hmm.
So moral compasses makes it real hard.
Exactly. Well, moral compasses, at a certain point, you're not listening to a moral compass anymore. It's a worldly compass you're listening to. So I believe a moral compass is not, it has nothing to do with anything in this world. Your moral compass is in eternal, meaning it's not affected by material things or anything in life. So the Christian church say they have a moral compass, but now they're like, oh, we can make more money or have more power if we get rid of this just temporarily while we make everybody else follow it. We'll do all this shady shit and then still have everybody else follow it. So I think people abandon their moral compasses all the time, but that's what sin is, and that's what temptation is. That's why it's there. It's put there to test you, in my opinion. But he asked me what God was for me, and it's just that. I mean, he's someone who's always there for me. I talk to him more than I talk to people. We always have conversations. I pray a lot, and I feel like my prayers are, I feel like I know. I've had personal experiences where my prayers have been answered directly, and I know I can't deny it. I know it's real. And yeah, I know it's real, and it's similar to like the LDS church and what our parents were raised with, but I don't feel confident enough to be like, I'm going to go be a part of the LDS church, because it's different. It's not the same. And I don't like organized religion.
You got a question?
I was just going to ask, when does innocence stop? Because you said kids and children, but what if you had like somebody who went through their whole life and basically didn't do anything wrong? I mean, that's pretty much impossible.
We'll say Jesus. Was he innocent?
Like, is it a knowledge thing? Like, the more you know? Because, like, you can have this person that knows so much. Are they innocent?
I think you know what innocence is. So I think in any circumstance, you kill somebody, right? Something bad happens, you kill somebody. You know in your heart if what you did was justified. And deep down in your heart, not like, oh, yeah, man, I totally should have killed him. You know. Like, if it's self-defense, if someone did nothing wrong their entire life and they walked in my front door to rob my house, I'm killing them and I'm justified. I just think it's a matter of circumstance. If you're defending yourself, or if you are doing right in your actions, then I think you're good, as long as you can have a clear conscience and anybody else is like, oh yeah, like I totally would have done that. You did the right thing. That's how I think it is. I don't think innocence is something that can be proven.
Gotcha.
I think God's
I heard
the only
some
one that knows
dangerous
your
thoughts
innocence.
just barely. Quite a few of them.
Let's hear it.
You're saying, first of all, in innocence, you're like, anyone else can look at it and be like, oh yeah, you were justified, or justification.
Well, and I know that's a hard thing,
That is a hard thing, depending on who you're asking.
and depending on the moral compass.
Yes.
So that's what everything's based on a moral compass to me, because again, I mean, someone comes in your door, someone comes in my door, kicks in my door, I'm shooting them. They're going to die. You can go to the courts and you can lose. If there was a case in, I forget what state it is, but some guy came in, kicked in the front door, they shot him, they didn't kill him, and he ended up going to the courts, suing, and won for being wrongfully harmed at their front door.
Oh, that's
And-
in Australia too. Like
Yeah.
you can rob somebody, and if they attack you, you could sue the shit out of them.
Yeah, which is,
New York, California.
yeah, so,
yeah.
I mean, to say, yes, you can take anything anybody says and skew it any way you want. I believe that. You can be like, oh, this guy said as long as you're justified, let's do it, But I think your justification is ruled by a moral compass. So if I happen to, which I never want to do, if I happen to kill somebody and I can make peace with it with my God, with my moral compass, to me, because I know what my moral compass is, it's right and wrong. And I know if I did it unjustified, it's wrong. But again, like you're saying, anybody can justify anything. So it's not something you can quantify and be like, here's the law on innocence. This, you can't do that.
Right.
It's going to vary by every single person you have.
They try to.
Yeah, well, you can always try. That's why we have the good old U.S. government deciding for us.
Yeah.
Do you think people can be inherently evil or good?
Like people are born bad. Is that what you're kind of saying? People are born bad, but
Just
they're born
inherently evil.
good. No, I don't. I don't believe that. I don't believe someone's born just like born with this predisposition of being evil, or born with this predisposition of being a great person, or if we're talking from birth, no, I don't believe that.
What about not from birth?
Then it's not inherently.
Yeah,
why
then it's not you're just evil. It's
But what makes it evil?
what makes someone evil.
Yeah, or an action evil. Because in their mind, it's just fine.
Again, you're arguing psychology of people. I mean, you can't justify psychology. Everybody can justify anything. Dude, I could just blast you in the face right now. You guys would all be like, "Oh, dude, you're so not justified for that." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And it would, like you can literally do anything and justify anything. You can literally argue anything. So it is the psychology of it. If you're asking me what makes someone inherently evil,
Yeah.
it's the intention to do harm, the intention to do bad. You're doing things knowing they're bad. Because I think there's a difference between someone who doesn't know right and wrong and is doing wrong. Because there's examples of that. But I think if you do know that what you're doing is wrong and you proceed to do them, I think that's inherently evil. Because I think there's some people, I mean, even, and this, nobody's going to like this example, but take Hitler, for example. What he did, the whole world is like, you're evil. For him, he wasn't evil.
He's
He-
smart as fuck.
Yeah. Well, for him, he's doing what he believes in. Like, he believes that he's making the world a better place by what he was doing. He believed in it. And another thing in Sell or Be Sold, Hitler was a salesman, man. You know how many people he got behind him to back him and do this awful shit with him?
Yeah.
Like, he believed in what he was doing so profoundly that everybody else believed it too. So, like, Hitler, the shit he did was evil in accordance to the whole world. I guarantee you he did not think he was doing evil. He thought he was doing the right thing. And so was he inherently evil to the rest of the world? Yeah. But to all the people he was around, probably not. He was probably a prophet to them. So even in that's an extreme example, but it's hard to justify. It's hard to say one way or another. Because one of the worst examples in history can go either way, depend on which side you're talking to.
Like
Right.
the holy wars or anything like that.
All of it. All of it. We look at it now, we're like, oh, that's bad. But in the time, they're like, dude, we're fighting for Christ, man. We're
What's the devil to you?
Oh, um, I don't know, man.
And let's take it up a notch. Let's say on a spiritual level. What's the devil to you?
That's a tough question. I think the devil is mostly temptation. That's going to be my answer.
Okay.
The devil, I do believe in heaven and hell. I believe in all of that. I believe the devil inserts himself into your life through a form of temptation. I don't think the devil can make you do anything wrong. He can tempt you, and you get to make the choice, because I believe everybody has their own free agency. No one's made to do anything. You make the choice. So
Interesting.
it's as if there's a question posed to you, like, here's your options. You can do the right thing or you can do the wrong thing. Now, the devil's persuading you to do the wrong thing. He wants you to do this. He's selling. But you have to choose to be sold or not.
So would it be yourself that's the devil?
It's internal, because I've never seen the devil, but
You ever seen God?
I've never seen God, but I felt God.
What's that feeling?
You can't describe it.
Oh, sure you can.
You can't. It's not quantifiable. I've never felt anything like it before. I will never feel anything like it again unless God touches me again. And that sounds dirty. It's not meant to be. But
Did you feel tingles?
It's
Like your fucking white lights?
you're not here anymore. It's not. I mean, I haven't had direct conversation with God or anything like that, but he's answered prayers, and I've known it was him. And that feeling, you're grateful to be here.
Well, what happened?
One of them, there's a lot, right? So I pray every day. So
Okay.
I pray for safe travels to and from work. And I get to and from work home safely every day. And some people call that coincidence. I don't. And some people fault me for this, but everything I do and everything I've accomplished is because of God. My success is because of God. Where I'm at in life is because of God. I married my wife because of God. All of it is attributed to God. That's how I think. So to say I'm highly religious is an understatement. Everything I do, it's from God. It's a gift from God. But in the particular circumstance, we were driving up to Grandma and Grandpa's. And it was crazy. We got on the freeway, and I always say a safety prayer. I forgot to say a safety prayer. I told my wife, I'm like, I forgot to say a safety prayer. I need to say a safety prayer. Say a safety prayer. Not a couple minutes later, we were coming just before Parley's Canyon, and there was like a 200-yard stretch, it was so weird. There's a 200-yard stretch that had a skiff of snow on it, maybe an inch, maybe not even an inch, like slushy snow, but it was only this 200 yards, and there was no clouds in the sky. It was just had some snow on it. So we're driving, and this guy in the truck next to me going 60 miles an hour slides off the road and rolls his truck. And so I pull over on the barrier and get out of the truck, and I'm running, so you have the freeway. I'm where the cars are. I'm not smart on the other side of the barriers that are meant to protect you. So I go running towards this guy, and I see this car. This guy's in a Toyota Camry, and he's coming at me, and it's 70 miles an hour right there. It's coming, and he's going straight, but something just tells me to look, and it was so slow motion. And I see his tires turn towards me, and the barrier's here. I'm here. This car's coming like this at 70 miles an hour, and the car just turns and starts coming towards me. And as I'm running in cowboy boots, which if you can't run in those, and you can't jump, you can't do anything in cowboy boots. And so I'm running, and slow motion in my mind, I see the trajectory of his car. It's going to bounce off this wall, and it's going to hit me. And I can't explain it, but as soon as I saw the car, something in my body said, "Jump, stupid." And it was like someone grabbed the back of my shirt, pulled me up, and I jumped. I'm not going to say I jumped. I was elevated over this car from the driver or the passenger side front headlight over and landed on right between the driver's side, like back seat door. Jumped over the car completely. and was in full stride, still running. And I looked back at my wife, and my wife's crying. And some lady on the side of the road's all, holy fuck, you just jumped that car. And I'm in total shock, and I'm like helping, but I have full belief, had I not said that prayer, I would have been taken out of the kneecaps. I used all my Jesus points that day. All of them.
Cha-ching.
Used them all. Experiences like, and a lot of people, again, you can say, oh, well, you just jumped over a car, man. You're athletic. Good job. It's not that. It was God. I didn't jump. I was lifted. I was helped. I was whatever. And the feeling after that, you're happy to be here, man. I felt God. God was there. He answered my prayer. And whenever I've felt the Spirit or felt God, it's just emotional. And it's not a sad emotional. You're just so happy you cry. I'm not an emotional guy. I've cried in the last 10 years twice, once when my daughter was born. And that was, for me, a spiritual experience. But it makes you emotional. It's an emotional thing, and it's a happy emotion. But I don't think you can explain the feeling. I could try my best, and then if you guys were to feel it at some point in your life, you'd be like, you did a really shitty job at explaining that. It's like, I know. Now you explain it to me, and you'd be like, oh, wait. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty sick story.
Yeah, it was cool.
Do they have it on video?
No, dude, I was that lady that was, I was looking for traffic cams in the area. I was like, dude, that'd be sweet if I could see it on video, but no. But it was cool. But my wife didn't believe in God, and after that day, she started. After that day, and that to me, that's a testament of what happened that day. She saw it happen and was like, maybe there is something to this God thing we've been talking about, and now it's part of both our lives.
Hi, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
dude, and falling off my roof.
That's just hilarious.
Dude, use Jesus points there too, dude. I attribute literally everything to God, dude. It's all because of Him. I'm here because of Him. My wife, dude, when I was chasing her for 2.5 years, I was ready to give up every single fucking night, dude. It was rough. It was a rough 2.5 years. And I kept praying to God. I said, look, if I'm meant to keep pursuing this, I need you to keep me on it. If I'm not, then I'll let it go. And each time I tried to walk away, I got brought back. And it was meant to happen.
And now you have a cute baby.
Now I have a cute baby. She was meant to come into my life. So
There you go.
That's awesome.
I think there's free agency and everything, but I think there's a reason for everything. Good or evil,
Yeah.
it's still your right to choose. I don't think anyone can make you do anything, God or otherwise. No one can make you do anything.
Yeah.
It's my opinion. What's
Very
your
nice.
opinion?
No, I agree. Free agency is we'll say the top law of the universe as far as humans are concerned, at least.
Yeah.
And that usually brings me into the question of if everything has a purpose, then what's the point of free agency? Like, everything means something. What's the point of free agency?
You need to choose what side you're on, man. Are you good or bad? And God knows. That's what so I think all the questions you're asking me, I'm answering from my religious standpoint, because that's what I base my life off of. And for someone that doesn't understand religion, is not going to understand. For someone who doesn't buy into religion, is not going to think it has any credit. Mm-hmm. But for me, there's heaven and there's hell, and you're either trying to do good or you're not. And your free agency is, God knows the intent of your heart, but you still have to choose that path. God knows who you are as a person, or at least my God knows me, who I am as a person, but I still have to choose to be that person. I have to choose what path that is that leads me there.
If you grew up without religion, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
You think you'd still be into it?
I think I would have a different path, but I think I'd arrive at the same destination. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think, again, I think it's everyone has the intent of their heart. If I'm the same being, right? Like whatever you want to call it, same soul, same consciousness, whatever you want to call it, just under different circumstances, I think I'm still going to find the same path. Maybe maybe the religion looks a little different, or how I came upon it looks a little different, or I call it something different. But I think I arrive at the same destination, because you are who you are. You lean on what you lean on, and your experiences make you. So it's not like my parents didn't shove religion down my throat. And like my parents got religion shoved down their throat to where religion was a swear word. My dad was I think my dad was awesome about it. He's how I want to be. We'd talk about Sunday school, and this stopped when we were young. I mean, we probably didn't do Sunday school past 9 or 10 for me, or at least that's what it feels like. It could have been later, but it was very much, we're reading these books, interactive, asking questions, and be like, this is what I believe in. You don't have to believe in it. Say a prayer, ask God what's right and what's wrong, and you'll find your answer. And that was it. It wasn't, you have to believe in this. This is wrong. You're going to hell for this. It wasn't any of that. And that's what I did. I read books on my own. I was in the LDS church for a couple years. I did away with religion for a couple years. And, you just find your path. And I came back to it. And I feel like I'm closer than I've ever been. But I'm still far away. So
Nice.
I think it's not something any of us on Earth will ever achieve, is total, whatever you want to call it. Nobody's going to know everything. Nobody's going to have all the knowledge in it. I don't believe anybody will ever achieve that unless guided by God himself. I would like to be, though.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
What was your question?
Oh, how much more time do you have, first of all? I
got all the time for you.
I don't want to be diving down all the pathways for you.
Yeah, I got all the time for you. I'm good.
Perfect.
It's only 8.
My wife just ordered herself some takeouts. We're good.
Yeah, you're good to go. Get the texts too. Your card's charged.
Yeah, I do.
Nice.
Amex, perfect.
Perfect. First of all, you say you believe in heaven and hell. What is heaven? What is hell? Like, what do those look like in your brain?
Yeah, so that is another one of the answers that I think I'll never have the answer to, and nobody has the answer to. To me,
what do you envision? We'll say that.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So you read about heaven in the books and stuff, and to me, I'm like, maybe that was the writer's interpretation of heaven. But to me, heaven is surrounded by the people I love, doing what I love with just, there's no words. It's just happiness. You're just in a state of bliss with the people you're blissful with. That's heaven to me.
Not 7 virgins?
No, I don't need that. Because that's lust.
72.
That's not bliss.
Is it 72?
Yeah, 72 versions for all of eternity.
Fucking hell.
You last 1 year and then it's fucked.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, shit.
Yeah. So I don't know, and maybe heaven is different for every person. Maybe. See, that's where I don't know. Either heaven is this one solitary place that your soul goes to, that everybody's soul goes to when you die, or heaven is what you want heaven to be. Nobody knows, and you can't know until we die, and maybe we're all in the same place, or maybe we're not, or all I know is I believe in it, and I think any religion has no basis if you don't have faith, and I have faith in it. Religion is faith. Without faith, how can you believe in something that's not there if you don't have faith? I have faith. I have faith.
So, with your, we'll say, interpretation, your envisionary of heaven, I challenge you to this question: who says you're not in heaven right now?
And I've heard that question before as well.
Good.
And another thing is, and I'll come back to that, but another thing is hell. I've heard this before. What if this is hell? Because you say that, okay, maybe this is heaven, maybe this is hell. Because you don't know. What if hell is trying to navigate the world and you're making bad choices and good choices? What if that's hell?
Can it not be both?
It probably could be. That's the thing. We don't know.
Don't know, but
I'm not stuck on a solitary source of heaven and hell.
Yeah.
It's fluid for me. I believe there is one of each. I don't believe that currently I'm in heaven or hell.
Yeah.
I believe we're at an in-between place that decides which one we go to. I think it's much harder to get to hell than it is to get to heaven. Because I think in my religion, my God, he's a father and he wants you to succeed. That's where it comes from for me. It comes from a place of love, which is why there's only two things you can't be forgiven for in my religion.
Has your vision of heaven and hell changed at all since you yourself had a child?
I mean,
That was a weird sound, dude.
I like that. Thank you.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say my perspective on life may have changed.
Yeah.
The only thing it changed about, because heaven and hell's religion for me, the only thing it changed about religion is it made me dig my heels in. That I know where I'm at and I know where I'm supposed to be and I know which path I'm going on. So if anything, I feel like it just reinforced my beliefs. I think there is a heaven. I think there is a hell, but also like, so people talk about heaven and hell like it's, everyone's wearing white robes and stuff. Like if I can't say fuck and drink a Coors Light in heaven, dude, I'm gonna
Not
be
a Bud Light?
no, we don't do that. Like I'm gonna be pissed. Like so, and maybe you go to heaven and you're just this blissful person that doesn't enjoy those type of things, which feels like it would be sad. But I don't know, dude. So heaven to me, like, I have to have my family. Like, can I shoot deer and shit in heaven? Because I really fucking love that. And I'm swearing a lot now, so I'm sorry. But, like, I want to go hunting. I want to go camping with the boys. I want to game. Like, I want to play Xbox with the boys in heaven, dude. Like, that's fun. So what is heaven? I don't know. Maybe everybody has their own version of heaven. And hell, maybe hell's the same way. Maybe hell is whatever you fear most, or maybe hell is a place you all go to that is dark and depressing. But people talk about hell being hot, dude. My hell's cold. I don't want to be in the cold.
I just find it so fascinating, the different interpretations of heaven and hell, because I see people in heaven and hell every day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're just like, oh my
Well,
God.
and I think it can be a mental state for sure. And I think everybody has those transitions. You have a day where mentally you're in hell. It's a bad day. Or it's a bad month, or it's a bad year, or you're living your life in hell. But again, in my opinion, that's a choice. You chose that. It's free agency to an extent, but no, not to an extent. You chose that. If you're living in a hell every day, you chose that. That's my opinion.
So what would you be doing, and where would you be without religion? How would your life look?
Well, let's get definitions clear here. Religion is man's interpretation going up to God and meeting God, and basically a bottom up approach. Spirituality is man's own connection with God. Mm-hmm. So without religion, you already said you're not like super religious. You're a very spiritual man, right?
Well, spiritual, and I tie it into, because I still buy into some of the religion. It's just not, you can't classify me and be like, he's of the LDS religion. Like,
right.
It's not my religion. So yes, spiritual may be the way to describe it, but I don't think I'd be where I am. I don't know where I'd be, but faith is the founding principle in my spirituality. If I didn't have faith, I don't think I'd be with my wife. If I didn't have, man, it goes way back, dude, way back to college is when it started for me. And in college, man, I was a bad soul. I was doing some bad shit in college.
Bad to the bone.
Which many of you have heard of. But college I enjoyed too much, too fast. And then it gets to a point where, so for me, I was doing this, it felt like a snowball. So I did doing stuff that I know that I'm better than, or I know that I shouldn't be doing. Then you're like, oh, well, I've already done it, so I might as well continue. So you continue on that path, and it got to a point where it was dark for me. Dark, depressing, and again, you choose that. I chose that. I brought myself to
Even
that
with
path.
all the pursuit of happiness, it was dark and depressing.
Yeah, and the pursuit of happiness gets dark
Listen
sometimes.
to that, listeners.
Yeah, pursuit of happiness gets dark. And if you want to make it light again, you're going to have to fight your way out of the dark.
Okay. So here we go. Most of the newer generations, things like that, the pursuit of happiness is the goal. That is the meaning of life. What the fuck is the meaning of life for you?
Meaning of life is
Or even what's the purpose? What's the point of being here?
the point, my work, we call it your why. What's your why?
Yeah.
My why is family. My purpose, if I didn't have a wife and kids, I wouldn't have a purpose here. I think the point of being on this earth to me is to have a wife and kids, raise a family, guide that family successfully. That's the point of life to me, is going through all those trials, how you respond to it, what it does for you, makes you a better person. Yeah, I don't know. That's my purpose. It's to be a good dad, be a good husband, and to be faithful.
So, in regards to faith,
Mm-hmm.
how and why would you believe? Because you're believing in something that you truly haven't ever seen, right?
I've never seen a physical form, no.
So then what's the point of believing in something that physically you've not seen? You've felt them,
Yeah.
but physically. Because that's where I struggle with it. Why would I have faith in something that
Okay.
hasn't
Wait.
shown?
Can
So Grandpa,
well can I ask you a pointed question? Personal
Please,
question.
yeah.
How do you know that you love your fiance?
Well, because every day I wake up with her.
Well, yeah, but it's not a physical thing, because most of the physical can be interpreted as lust. You know, in your
Yeah.
soul, you love her, correct?
Yeah.
It's in your soul. It's in your being.
Yeah, and love is an
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, your love isn't. So I think it's the same thing. How can someone on the outside look at you and say, I believe that he loves her, because every couple holds hands and kisses and has
Sure.
sex, and that's every couple. And some of those couples don't love each other. They hate each other, and they still do some of that shit.
Yeah.
So for me, you say, how can you have faith? Well, you have faith in your love for your wife, and you have faith that she loves you back.
Yeah, but she's here. I see her.
Yeah, but you can't physically, the love isn't tangible, in my opinion. Love is
Right.
a feeling and emotion, which you can see outbursts of that emotion. But the
Yeah.
essence of love is, in my opinion, the essence of faith. It's the same thing.
my dad explains faith this
Okay,
way:
fair.
is like, New York's real. You know it. You've never seen it. You can feel the consequences, the actions of what happens in New York. You've never seen it. Pictures, everything. You've seen it, but you just believe it's there. You strongly, you know it's there without ever seeing it. So you have faith that it's still there. You're just believing what other people say in that point.
Yeah, and faith, I get faith is a hard one to wrap your head around. It was the hardest concept for me growing up, but I've had faith, and I've had experiences due to that faith, and I can never deny those experiences.
Right.
And for everybody, it's different. Like, you don't have my experiences. You don't have faith in my God. Totally
Yeah.
justified. Totally justifiable. I get it. I'm not like, dude, you got to believe in this guy, man.
Yeah.
No, it's totally justified.
But then the idea of God, right?
Mhm.
That came from man's hand, written from how many people through these
Right.
books to come to
Right.
what's the newest book called?
Haven't read it.
It's King James Bible is like the basis.
Here's the
Right. So this is all faith off of other man's hand.
Correct.
And man is not fucking trustworthy.
No. So if you read the books, one of the
Okay.
most repeated phrases in all the books is trust not in the arm of flesh. Trust not in man. I wholeheartedly believe. Trust not in the arm of flesh. I don't trust the books. I don't
Okay.
trust man.
Okay.
I trust God. So what I do
Okay.
is I read a book, read a passage, have an idea, have a thought, whatever it is. I take that and I pray and say, if this is true, let me know it to be true. If it's false, let me forget about it and let it be false. And that's what I do. That's why I say my relationship is with God. It's not with the LDS Church, because the LDS Church, a lot of their followers, man, they're just that. They're followers. They're just walking the line. This guy said it's true, so it has to be true. I don't buy into that. I have my own faith. I have my own free agency. I'm not going to let another man guide me when man makes mistakes. I'm going to let God guide me. So I believe that those books have been altered. And some of it's probably good. Some of it's altered. I don't take any of it for gospel. I take my relationship with God for gospel.
Okay.
If I get an internal answer that it's true, then yeah, I'll believe it.
I've got a question for you, Logan. Why wouldn't you have faith?
Because where's the proof?
So is there a God?
I would say the traditional, no way in hell.
Okay. So
But spiritually, well, also no way in hell.
so where'd you come from? Where did you go?
Dude, that's what I'm asking.
Dude.
I don't fucking know.
So what's the point of life? Why get married?
Family.
Why have kids?
Family.
Why
Having
family?
a prosperous life.
What defines prosperity?
Well, for me, taking my family to the beach whenever we want and just
Just
growing
happy.
a solid family. Yeah, being happy.
Yeah.
And having authentic love for each other.
Yeah.
So that would be my why, and that would be what prosperity looks to me.
So when you die, do you believe you go anywhere?
Oh, dude, that's a fucking solid question.
Because in the grand scheme of things, what's the point if after 100 years it's all over? You just shut the book on it?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you believe?
No, I think the soul goes. I think it just goes somewhere. Where? No fucking clue. And I'm not gonna have faith in something that I have no fucking clue about.
Well, if you have no fucking clue where it goes, don't you desire those answers?
No.
You don't want to know what happens after?
No, I mean, it'd be cool. Like if Grandpa came and was like, hey, bro, spiritual form, dab me up. This is what's going on. But other than that, I'm like, okay, why would I waste my time?
Yeah.
Because in my eyes, it is a waste of time.
And I get that. And that's the thing. All of us, again, we have different experiences, different beliefs, and maybe we get. I mean, so for me, I know what I believe in is true, right? Everybody knows what they believe in is true.
Yep.
And maybe we get to the other side, and there's no other side.
It'd be weird.
Me and Logan are just floating through space, as two souls. But
cool.
maybe you're in heaven with me, and you're like, fuck, dude.
Yeah,
You're
shit.
right,
If there
dude.
is a fucking booklet that God pulls out himself and is like, look, dude, here's a list. I'm in trouble. But in reality, I don't think that's going to fucking happen.
See, I don't think it's a list. And I think I've done a lot more I've done worse shit in my life than you have.
And I would agree with that,
and
actually.
I believe I will make it there. And so if I make it there, you'll make it there.
Yeah, but where's there? That's what it comes down to.
That's
It's
it.
all an idea.
Yeah.
And religion is based off of fear. And not for you.
Yeah.
I get that.
He's talking about organized religion,
Yeah.
right?
Organized
In
religion.
general. And even when it comes to our family, it is fear-based. That's
Agreed.
why we can't say God. That's why fucking polygamy. That's why lottie-dottie-dottie. It's all based off of fear.
Yeah.
I think religion is great, and I think people should do it because it keeps people in line.
Yeah.
But if you can just, have an internal fucking moral compass, then what's the
Yeah.
point?
No, I believe our family's religion is fear-based, and growing up, a lot of it was death, doom, and gloom.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe in that either. I believe it's a light, wonderful thing. But, what was I going to say? I don't think all of it's fear-based. Like you said, not saying God. To me, that's a respect thing. And so it's just different
Is that his name?
interpretations, right? His name,
Because it goes, you shall not take the Lord's name in vain, right?
correct.
So what is his name?
And what makes it a him?
And who's to say we're lawyers?
Yeah.
And maybe it's not, but I personally I don't say GD or any of that stuff because I think it's a respect thing. But again, if other people say it, you're not on the same path as me, and that's fine. To each your own. I believe in that, You're going to make your own choices, and that's what free agency is. You're put down here to make your own choices, and whether you believe in religion or not, or what you do or don't believe in, it's free agency. I don't care.
Is hell eternal?
No.
No,
Oh, fuck yeah. Okay.
I don't think hell's eternal. No.
Common ground. I love this.
Well, there's no way because it comes from within the mind.
Not to say that I'm against everything you've said. I'm not trying to do gotchas or anything.
Yeah.
I love pursuing thought
Yeah.
and like feeling and like diving deeper. Why? What?
I think we're on this earth for progression of ourselves.
Ooh.
So
Your spirit, I would assume.
yeah,
right?
yeah. And so like the monetary thing and all that, success is just makes life down here a little bit more enjoyable, I think.
Yeah, it could
But
be. Mhm.
I think the real people, I would say the most successful people in life are those who are spiritually sound. That's my argument. I'd rather be spiritually sound than have all the billions of dollars. I could give a fuck less. I'd rather be spiritually sound and go on to my next life. But I think as life here is a progression of the soul, I think so then is the next life. So I think even when, say, you get to heaven, I think heaven's a progression as well. And people talk in the LDS church, they talk, or maybe it's not, maybe it's our family's church, I don't know. They talk about the different levels of heaven. That's talked about, how there's 3 levels of heaven. And I don't know that I buy into that or not, but I do think there is a succession in heaven. Like, I don't think you walk into heaven and you're like, there's Jesus Christ, my man, we're going to hang out every day. I don't think that. I think it's a progression as well, whereas I think hell's a progression also. You go to hell, maybe it's you get to hell and they're like, hey, you flunked a life, you're reincarnated, bitch, try it again. Like, maybe they do that, or maybe it's, okay, you're in hell, you got some shit to learn, and we get you to this point, and then you go to heaven. But I do think it's a progression. I think life's eternal. I don't think the state of life is eternal, heaven or hell. Just like our life here. Like, you can be in hell for a couple days, months, years, but you can get yourself out of it. I think all of it's relative. I think all of it's free agency.
Yeah, so wouldn't that make each individual their own God?
No, gives each individual their free agency to decide if they want to be with God or Satan.
Yeah, which once again is the mind, and what we create, right?
Maybe for you.
Yeah, that is what I believe.
Yeah.
I think each individual is their own God.
Yeah. See, I don't believe that, just because I've had experiences that say otherwise, and that's what I base my life off of, is the experiences and everything that I feel. I don't know, and someone without those experiences, you can't feel that. So I don't fault you for having that belief.
And who says I haven't felt it? For example, I just take it in a different perspective.
In my opinion, if you felt what I felt, you can't deny it. In my opinion.
Okay.
And I don't, and that's not to say that you have to be like, I believe in Dalton's religion. No, I think you can feel something spiritually, and you believe in your form of spirituality. Yeah. I don't think it has to be named God or Christ or whatever you name it, your higher power or whatever. I think if you felt it, you would attribute it to that, because you know that whatever you felt is not something you're capable of within. But
I just don't agree with that.
Well, then I love you.
Yeah, right. I love you too. We're just agreeing to disagree.
Well, and that's okay. I love the constructive criticism, because you talk to a lot of people in our family, you can't have this conversation. There's no room for debate on anything. I hate talking to people that have their roots already dug in. They're not open to expansion. They're not open to changing their mind. Like, if you were, like, I'm open to having my mind changed on things, and I'm sure my experience with religion or spirituality will grow as I get older and have more experience. I'm sure I'll be like, oh, when I was 25, I thought this was it, but that's not it. It's probably